Okay, let's have another rematch game. Just getting a rematch game. Rematch in progress. Okay. So this is an interesting start position. One of the bishops in particular go here. This one go here, go here. That's useful for getting bishop to h1 to pin a knight. Maybe the knights need to hovel back to the centre. Take a few moves. Anything else to consider here about this start position? Queen, king, queen can be liberated to g4, maybe f5, e6. Come out on this diagonal. So I don't know. This pawn move could be important for the bishop on h2 to immediately attack h2, but it's protected by that guy. So the opponent's bishop has got the same dangerous possibilities. So it's d5 playable just to establish classically a foothold in the centre. And then c4. Is that dangerous? More dangerous than usual. c6, exchange of queens with cd. So e6. And that doesn't block in one of the bishops, so. Okay. Hold your horses, yeah. Horses over here on h8. Knight is rim on the dim. This is particularly dim on h8 and h1. So these bishops, the most dangerous bishops are these ones eyeing these h pawns. So the quick c4 hits h7. Quick c6, not c4, cause I don't know, unless I want a gambit, hits h2. So apart from those dangerous bishops, the dangers of this start position don't seem too much. Okay, hitting h7, I can't move this knight. c6 exchanges off queens here, so maybe e6. Okay, I think e6 looks safe enough, or maybe just taking. If I take queen c4, I'm not sure I like the idea of taking. Queen c4 looks okay. There's no big deal with queen c4, is there? f6, I lose the rook, otherwise bishop f7 will be useful. So I think e6, I hope. There's no bishop a5 or anything, that's another threat. Maybe bishop b4, hits f8. Ah, too much. Ergonomics. Let's not think too much. Thinking is also a problem. For exhaustion. So, okay. I think knight g6 and getting this other knight at maybe f6, rerouting. Otherwise, knights are a bit silly. If I use that square for g6, then what about this guy? f6 and knight f7. Mind you, f6, bishop g6, exchange off light square bishops, then weaken the light squares, get a knight to e4 later. F6 here. So the immediate threat, bishop f8 and thingy. So I could protect with knight g6. There's no h4 at the moment, so I guess knight g6 actually is okay here. Just to protect h7. A bit of pressure. That's queen g5. Oh, blimey, queen g5 check. Oh, there's f6. That's okay, I think. Okay, if I can recapture, unless there's something horrible. Queen c5, second d5, c6, not losing anything horrible. Yeah, nothing horrible. Knight e3, c6. That should be safe enough then. Don't have to do anything else, do I? Apart from ed. Is there a check? There's queen g5 check. Ouch! Winning d5. I have blundered a pawn. Whoops. I've blundered a pawn. Ah. Does it matter? There's bishop c6. Right, so takes queen g5, f6. I don't know. Oh. I don't know if a5 or f6. f6 just to stop queen g5. If it takes queen e6, there's queen c7. And also queen d5 after f6 is on g8. What about queen d7? If takes, there's queen d4 check. Queen d7. There's knight e3, but then that's blocking in the queen. I'll go for queen d7. So d takes queen d4. If queen g5, f6. If knight e3, maybe I can take. Then with the pawn. That's alright. Queen d7 is a nifty move, I hope. Also, isn't queen a4 threatened to win the bishop as well? Queen a4 threatens to win that bishop, which is loose. It's amazing how deadly the moves are just at move 4, actually. It's intriguing difference between this and normal chess, that the start position here seems sharp. that's not the use of the word sharp, but it seems to be a sharp start position. It's sharper than I imagined. That you can't really just occupy the centre without worrying about your pawns because of queen g5 checks. It does seem to be a sharp position. So d takes is actually queen a4, just winning the bishop. I'll do something about that bishop. Bishop f8, say rook f8. I think queen d7 was a double exclamation mark move. Or an exclamation mark move at least. Wasn't walking into a straight blunder with a routine recapture. Okay. Well, it's got them stumped. So this move carries a couple of threats, queen a4 and queen d5 or ed. Queen a4 is the principal threat. They've got to do something about that bishop on b4 surely. Throwing this check, f6, d takes. Instead of queen d4, there's queen a4 there. Even better, because then there's no bishop d2, it's just winning the whole bishop. And they just blunder the bishop. Isn't it just queen a4 here? Winning the bishop. Is this a sack? e7. I think I'm just going to play queen a4. Have they completely missed this threat? I don't know about e7s. There's knight e7. If ef, there's bishop f7. I'm going to play queen a4. Is this really a piece sack? He was just joking about first person to sack a piece wins a prize. Is this really a piece sack? What, losing the bishop? Blimey. Maybe they were looking at Queen D4. Can I just take on B4? There's nothing wrong with that, is there? Strange, I'm on D4. Intriguing. So if takes bishop f7, I'm on d4 anyway. Maybe even if takes queen d4 first. Ooh, so is that a dangerous check? What about just f6 here? Is there another dangerous check coming up? I don't know, I think f6. What's queen d5? Ooh. Was queen d6, queen b7? Oh my god. Queen d4, I'm taking the rook here. They're taking each other rooks. But if I'm taking the rook first, that's reassuring. There's e7 and knight e7 check. So queen d6. Alright. Let's think about this now. So queen d6, e7, knight takes, protects the rook. Queen b7, there's queen d4 and queen a1. So I think queen d6 is probably best here. Queen b7, queen d4, queen a1. And with e7 I play knight e7 protecting the rook. I don't know, the piece down doesn't look too good. I expect the team to sort of resigning here if there's no real compensation. That shows the brutality of Fischer random chess, that even in the first 4 moves there's already major threats. There's going to be a wake in Fischer random. This is going to be my quietest ever video. I'm just feeling a bit exhausted. Just waiting here. Okay. I mean, I can't believe Queen B7 is going to be more dangerous than. Anyway, okay. Oh, okay. So pawn chain is compensation for the piece. Okay, I can't undermine that pawn chain. I play knight e7, e4, try f5, there's f3. What would I gain? Was knight e5, there's f4 played. But this bishop on the diagonal, this pawn is at the dark squares, but play just a6 and bishop a7. Just celebrate the bishop first and then rook c8. And I'll do this. Celebrate the dark squares. Oh, his bishop's blocked in anyway, so bishop a7, rook c8. Take it from there, knight e7, e4, I don't know. There might be f5s, but then f3, but that'll be good for the bishop to be on that diagonal to stop f3s, then bishop g1. Sorts out the only problem piece, this a6, simple move, bishop a7, bishop's developed. Okay, unless knight f5 e7 is going to be a problem, maybe prophylaxis against, mind you, knight e7, knight e4 ties down to d6. I think I want to provoke e4, so I think knight e7 anyway. Mind you, h7, is that going to drop? No, not at the moment, so okay. Also there's bishop g6, maybe to try and weaken the knight squares, but if e4 then bishop a7. So if knight e4 I can use the bishop still on, now I can just take on d5. So I want to force e4, then to play bishop e7 to avoid knight e4s. Okay, so bishop a7 now. Bit of pressure, pinning that pawn, putting immediate pressure on that pawn. Does this bishop want to go here? And then it'll be knight d5 against this bishop. Bishop g6, rook c8, and then at some point knight d5. So this other knight, does it want to go to e5, f4 at some point? There might be like knight g4, knight d3. Or is it sitting just doing nothing? So I think this might be the next piece to try and do something with. Knight g6 to e5. Also have king e2, this bishop d5 is check here. So a knight on e5 would be nice, I think. Knight g6 to e5. Keep this knight on here to stop knight f5s. Also maybe f5 on the mind d5. It's 2 pawns for a piece actually, it's 2 pawns, isn't it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But I like having the extra piece. This is a good diagonal for the piece. Okay, any exploitable weaknesses? Knight g6 to e5 looks pretty solid apart from this guy, but I don't know, to get there, knight e3 to c4. Not me. So I think this will be prophylaxis. If I can get a knight to e5 and then play g5, maybe even g5 straight off the bat here to stop any f4s, then knight g6 to e5, have a huge knight on e5. And this knight e3 to c4 is worth factoring in straight away to allow f4. And knight g4 to e3 is then just also that pin. So does it matter? Do I need to play g5 first? That's b5 as well. Then it's a4, but I know there's bishops on that, so maybe takes. And then that's rook's tied down to that. I don't know. So knight c4 is otherwise kind of dangerous. I guess b5 quickest to stop knight c4. I could have just taken it. And then knight g6 to e5 without any challenge of f4. Could Could have just given up the bishop, maybe that was better. But I sort of like the bishop though. Do I have to give it up straight away? Kind of enjoying it on that diagonal. Mind you, knight f5 now. Oh, there. On d6. Maybe it's worth giving up the bishop. Because this guy's always going to stop knight f5. So if I take, then knight g6 to e5. I think I will. It's a central knight. Put this maybe as a pre-move, I think. We'll get to the knight to e5. It's got a target now. It's got the bishop on d3. It's a tempo game. And then bishop g6 and actually knight d5, because then that bishop will be pinning that pawn. There'll be knight d5. So knight e5, bishop g6, knight d5. If a4, the rook's tied down to the a4 pawn, so this bishop's just a bit of a problem here, but it's not a big deal at all. Knight e5, bishop g6. The pieces are sorted out, I think, without any issues. Exploitable weakness check again for prophylaxis needed. I don't think there's anything after knight e5. There's a lot of prophylaxis. The rook infiltrate. I don't think it can. I'm going to tell the bishop. No meaningful entry points here. So I'm looking forward to bishop g6 next. Mind you, bishop stopping a4s here. Does it matter? There's also b4 maybe to restrain pawns, and bishop b5 if it takes, then the a file. b4 might be an idea now that the bishop's protected. b4, knight d3, bishop b5, and then there'll be knight d3s actually. Bishop g6, knight d3, king d3, knight d5. I think this is good as well. I'll play this. Actually, my rooks are a bit stuck. Maybe also a4 is a bit more effective in this position. This is bishop moves. Bishop has to move actually. It should be okay. Do I want to chase this guy back? h5, h4. Can I castle over here? If I just castle rook c7, but the king might be here protecting the knight on e7. I think castling might be the next move, just to connect the rooks and play rook c8. But this threat is, pardon me, there's an immediate threat of knight d3 and knight d5. Using 15. I don't think these treble pawns are particularly meaningful. White's 2 pawns up with treble pawns, and big huge threats now to deal with. And then bishop c2, I castle, play rook c8. I don't know, do I even consider... Oh, bishop c2. Well, there's knight d3 and knight d5 now. If knight f5 though, I don't know. There's knight b4 check, and if king c3 there's knight a2 check. So I'm just going to just do this. Knight takes d5. I don't know about rook c6, there's knight b4 check. So knight f5, and I could just take. I'm playing this too quickly, too confidently. Rook c6 there's knight b4, if knight f5, knight b4, and if king c3 there's knight a2. So in other words, if there isn't king c3 I can just take on f5 and just... The triple pawns really are just wretched here. Okay, so knight b4, there's d6 on. Could I just take on f5 anyway next? So king c3, bishop f5, if king b4, bishop e4, if rook f5, obviously there's knight a2, so I think this is game over. I'll just take on, well, that's sealing the pawns again. Is that a big deal? There's, I don't know, king e7, there's rook c7. I guess, well, I think I want to take this and just castle queenside now. So if rook f5, well, I'm just casting queenside. I'll be on, hopefully the rook's there, just attacking e6. Okay, so I just castle queenside and there's rook c7. I'm just getting one pair of rooks off with rook c8 first. And then king e7 actually, I don't even need castle. Just rook c8 and king e7. e7 just take, king d7 even. Doesn't look too good for white here. I think they've just lost another pawn. It's just still a piece down for not much at all. Piece of pawn down. Didn't need to consider knight a2. I don't want a rook infiltration with this pawn being meaningful. I'm already winning, I don't need to go for more with knight a2, so. Okay. There's king e7 here then. Just connect the rooks up. a3 though, I don't know, knight c2 or knight c6. Maybe knight c2 is better. Maybe knight, I don't know, knight a2. Knight a2. Knight's kind of trapped, but it's coming out via c3. And it, I don't know. Knight a2, rook c8, rook c8, rook a1, rook c2. I think that's okay. To play knight a2 here. Try and get the c file. Knight on the rim, but it's getting the c file. Otherwise, knight c6 might be, I don't know. It's not like getting trapped here. Rook c1, rook c1. I can't imagine it. Rook a1, rook c2. I'm always protecting the knight. The rook on the 7th. Actually, rook c8, rook c8. Maybe there's a danger of king d3. Again, just, I don't know, rook c3 check. Can I get the knight out? Maybe just, I don't know. That could be the most dangerous thing, to try and trap the knight. Okay. Knight c3 here, rook c1, knight e4. I think knight c3 then. Might have to protect e4. And rook c5 maybe. So I've walked into a trap here, horrible trap. And d5. Try and get the king in, king d6. King d3, d5. What about just a5 though there? Actually, king d3, a5, rook c1, b4. Just, and if b4 takes a knight a4, I think this is good. Just reinforce the knight on c3. I can just take the knight a4 now. So the knight's pretty safe now. I've got possession of the only open file. Not too many exploitable weaknesses, I think, in my possession here. Whilst b4 seems exposed, with rook c4. Okay, good game. Alright, comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks so much.